Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what's up? It's your boy Sirigath, Shieldcoomer again, and one more time we're gonna be covering a Mythic Plus dungeon. Today it's gonna be Tazavesh, Gambit, or Upper Tazavesh, I guess. I think it's Upper. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right, so this is gonna be like I think an easy one, if I remember correctly. I think this was a very cool dungeon to do. Alright, so I'm gonna try to walk you guys through it. Keep in mind, I've actually played very weirdly this one because I've tried like a little bit different like keybinds, and you guys know that I main disc. I'm not used to playing Holy. This is the first time I'm actually like kind of like trying to seriously play Holy, and I'm still trying to find a way, because usually where my Shining Force goes, that's where I would like put my Divine Star, I think it's called, or whatever. But for some reason I just can't get I can't like find the perfect keybinds for this class yet. For me, like it doesn't matter, it's relevant. Anyway, what we did is like we killed the first pack, and then we just like ran with the Vol until here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. By the way, with this invisibility you can run through enemies. A lot of people don't know this. They're trying to like dodge stuff, like they're using like a rogue invisibility, but you don't need to do that. Also, one more thing I want to say about this is I think I'm using Harmonious Apparatus in this one, and not Flash Concentration actually, so that's just something to keep in mind. Because it does change the playstyle quite drastically, okay? And I'm not utilizing it even to like its full extent, alright? So I could be doing a much better job at it. Here, this beam is just like so easy, like please never die to this, please never fudge this up, like it is so easy. For this mechanic, what you want to do is you have one person with weak aura go to the console and they read it out, and then looking towards the console, this is how you do it. Like you just look at the, okay, you pick up an orb, and then they say the color of which where like the orbs go. So like one more time, the weak aura reads looking from top. So when there's 4 of them, each of them represent a corner in the room. So if it says orange, purple, yellow, blue, that means orange is top left, purple is top right, yellow is bottom left, blue is bottom right in our case. So you pick an orb and you take it to where the person with the weak aura said. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, nothing to worry about. Simple, very simple mechanic, guys. This dungeon is very simple. Gambit. Gambit is mega simple. I feel like the only difficult thing about Gambit is last boss. I've heard some people struggle with second boss, but I feel like if your tank knows what he's doing on the second boss, that boss is free. That boss is just straight up free if your tank is good. If your tank is having a hard time figuring it out, then you might have a rough time. But I mean, that's just, I feel like that's just keys in general. If tank isn't doing a good job, the dungeons are very difficult. I feel like tanks just kind of like dictate tempo. I've had keys where I've played horrible, whole party played horrible, and yet we still did good just because of how good the tank was. That happens. Tanks can literally carry the dungeon so single-handedly. Obviously, if like nobody can do a DPS, then you know you're not gonna time it and stuff. But still, like your tank allows you to do good DPS and to like time keys and stuff. Yeah, that's this boss. This boss is, as I said, very simple. Even on Tyrannical, you can see like tank is getting a little bit slapped. That's true, but in general, pretty clean and pretty neat little fight. I like it. I actually really like that there's like a mechanic where people have to like kind of like coordinate and think a little bit and stuff. I feel like the other 8 dungeons really don't have that, so I think it's a cool change. I gotta say, guys, I'm not sure if people agree with this. I don't know what the general consensus on this is, but I personally really like Tazavesh dungeons. I think Tazavesh is one of those like really cool, very refreshing, like just like good change of pace from the basic 8 dungeons that we have. who are, don't get me wrong, they're good as well. Like, I might make like a tier list on dungeons or something if people are interested in that, but I personally really like Tazavesh. I'm a big fan. I enjoy it a lot. I think it's very fun to play. But yeah, okay, so these guys, like, why a lot of people tend to skip these guys is they're just annoying. Like, look at this, like, you have to walk out as a melee, and as you can see, like, even as a range you get clapped. There I was kind of testing. I actually wasn't sure if I'm gonna die. I don't really know why I did that, to be honest. Now that I think about it, it was a very stupid idea, but I just remember I took that hit intentionally. I remember this specifically, because this wasn't too long ago. This was a couple of days ago. So yeah, because usually I don't make like the videos right away as I play them. Maybe I should start doing that so people can actually see like live affixes and like adjust their gameplay, and maybe like they'll find it more helpful or whatever. But I'll try my best, guys. Keep in mind, you know, I'm doing, you know, the best I can with with my time that I have. But yeah, one thing I would say is, like, I recommend Shining Force against Spiteful very highly, and against Necrotic. So Shining Force has huge value this week. Huge value. Well, obviously now it's too late because it's not this week anymore. It's different, but just keep it in mind in the future as well. And there, look at that cheeky little fade that I used to drop the aggro. I'm actually really proud of that play. And here, people need to understand that, like, you need to kill these fish sticks. I shouldn't have to be the one doing that, because now I can't keep the tank up. Especially with this build, you actually kind of like have a little bit less tank healing than needed. Keep in mind, guys, I just want to say something. If you watch my videos, I'm really bad at using Apotheosis. That's not because I'm not aware that I have it or something. It's not because I'm a bad player or something. I just feel like Holy has so much healing that you very rarely need it. Like, I feel like we overheal I feel like we overheal even tanks. I don't know. This class just has, I mean, this spec in particular just has so much healing. It feels insane. But yeah, don't be shy to use Apotheosis. There was, for example, a perfect time to use Apotheosis. Apotheosis into Serenity, into Sanctify. No, you actually don't chain Serenity and Sanctify. You shouldn't do that. So it should be like Serenity, Holy Flash, Sanctify, Circle of Healing, Prayer of Mending, another Flash Heal. Just like combine your spell. Don't chain. You don't want to chain two holy words, because you lose the buff from the set. Then you wanna make sure you're using that buff to its fullest. Obviously, like your sequence shouldn't just be dictated by min-maxing numbers. Always, because I mean, you guys know, like, my philosophy on numbers in dungeons is they don't really matter. Like, I've heard people say, well, yeah, well, you're doing only 4k HPS, trash healer. Yeah, okay, but I'm doing 8k DPS and everybody is alive. That's way more valuable than just I could do like 20k HPS every single pull. Is there any point in that if I'm overhealing and doing 0 damage? No. There isn't. Obviously, like, you need to do enough healing, and as you go higher into the keys, the healing requirement goes severely, so it is good to learn how to hardcore just heal, for sure. But that doesn't mean that... And there I clicked him because I have a new keybinds. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I never usually click him, but I clicked it because I'm not used to these keybinds. It's a little bit funny. But yeah, just like, you know, healing requirements are... very simple, you know. You need to keep people alive. That's your job. It doesn't matter how much HPS you're doing. I remember when I was in the like lower Ryo numbers in season 1 and stuff, I remember feeling very like self-conscious about my healing because I was still a new player. And I remember there was like this one particular dungeon. It really got stuck in my memory because I got flamed hard for my HPS. But the matter of fact is, Tank was running into the pools. And he was just dying. Like, I couldn't even get a full penance off, which is my strongest heal. So like, how do you expect me to keep you alive if you just straight up die? And these are the cases where your HPS doesn't matter. Same as like one-shotting abilities. Like, no matter how big your HPS is, you're not gonna keep somebody alive through a one-shot mechanic. It just doesn't work that way. So like, very often I've noticed this a lot of people do in PUGs. Like, when they fail mechanics, they'll blame healer for not healing them. And keep in mind, like, sometimes it can be your fault as well. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and say like healers are never at fault. quite the opposite. We can be a lot of the times, for sure, because our responsibility is, it's kind of like a service manager or something. Like when things are running correctly, nobody bats an eye. But one time something fails, one time things don't work out, everybody, like, first thing they look at is like you and the tank, and it's two very ungrateful roles. And that is why I think like consistency in healers rather than flashiness is more appreciated. Like we wanna make sure that we always keep ourselves safe and stay alive, and obviously allow our DPS to shine and our tank to do what he's meant to do, which is, you know, deal damage and tank, and just in general, you know, we're a support role, so act like it. Although I think that the evolution of healers is pretty spectacular in World of Warcraft. I actually really like that you can deal damage nowadays. I think that's like a really cool thing. And yeah, here we got some very interesting things happen. Like tank died. I'm not really sure what happened there. I think he just got like too many necrotics and didn't kite. Maybe it's my fault. I don't think there was much I could do for him though. I don't think so. He's had about 20-ish stacks, so maybe popping Apotheosis would be worth it, but I'm kind of against popping Apotheosis on like necrotic weak, simply because like more healing isn't gonna change the fact that he's taking no healing. You know what I mean? Like if you're taking like reduced amount of healing, like it's not really gonna keep you alive, and I don't like wasting my CDs, but it was worth a try. Like in retrospective, I would try to pop Apotheosis and just like try to heal him a little bit more. But yeah, you guys know the drill. This is all pretty standard. Just, you know, use your interrupts where you can. We have very nice ability chastise as holy priests, which is just straight up busted. Like this thing is insane. I really like look what what I like to do is I obviously this week, like this particular like Spiteful Necrotic, I really like Shining Force for the reasons I already stated. Like I like to push ghosts away, and also you can help the tank kite. But I would say it's always worth it to go for the chastise 4-second stun. Very rarely I would go for fear. I think there's some dungeons in which fear is good. For example, mists. On mists, fear is good, but fear is also but stun is also very good in mist. So it's kind of like you want to see what your group has. Like if you have like a warrior or DH or somebody else that can fear, I wouldn't go for it necessarily. And here I kind of like I fucked up a little bit, guys. I actually did not know that I didn't know that you get ported here when you release. I thought you get like after the portal. So this is actually quite scary, because this means that if you're out of combat reses, you're just kind of like fucked a little bit. Honestly, it's pretty rough. But yeah, it's you know, just walking back here very slowly, hoping my team, you know, stays alive.
I know the way to whatever you say.
And boss time. As I said, this boss is I've had nightmare attempts on this boss, but I've also had very good attempts on this boss. This boss is kind of like hit or miss. I feel like, as I said, it depends a lot on the tank. This tank is actually pretty good in my opinion. I really liked his tanking, so he did a great job. You guys will see, he made this fight look like a joke. Like And here I used my Ascended Blasts mostly on the Encrypted, simply because I felt like I didn't want my DPSers to waste their DPS on him. I feel like for them most of the time it's not worth it. And look at the damage of the Warlock, guys. Look at my boy popping off with a PI, like 50-60k burst. Like, what is that? That is insane. Warlock's previous weeks were just like free timed keys, honestly. Like the single target burst of Warlocks right now is just straight up busted. It is. That is insane. It's just insane. Like, if you ever wondered if you should be at Warlocks or somebody else, like I think here you got your answer. Obviously, not all Warlocks are that geared and that good, but a good Warlock will have some insane single target burst if they set up properly.
Infinite breath.
Also ignore my ERT note weak aura. That's kind of embarrassing. I didn't really know what's causing it. I figured out later. It had some like weird add-on interaction which confused certain abilities for raid abilities, so it popped these like ERT note like warnings. Super weird, but it is what it is. I think I fixed it now. I mean, it's not really a fix, I just had to like do something. And yeah, here this was, for example, bad Kyrian boon because now I have 2-minute cooldown and it's just kinda weak. It's just kind of weak because you want to keep that on your 1-minute CD. Obviously there are some exceptions, but you know, usually I just used it. I thought the boss is gonna live a little bit longer because I was like, surely they don't have CDs still, right? So maybe I just want to help finish the boss off. But yeah, these guys were blasting. They're pretty good. But yeah, okay, so this part of the dungeon is a little bit dangerous. Here you gotta pay attention. I think, I can't remember if it's this one or another key I did, but I died once to the star here, simply not paying attention. I mean, I feel weird saying this, but guys, pay attention. I mean, you know, obviously here user interrupts, make sure you dispel. This debuff is quite annoying. We have mass dispel though, so we're pretty good as priests in Tazavesh in general, both in streets and here. There's like quite a bit of like packs where mass dispel is actually huge value. And what I like to do is like especially if it's non-fortified, you can kind of let some debuffs stack. So you know, like here DH got it, so you can just like wait for somebody else to get another debuff and then you mass dispel, and then you can like do single dispels after that and stuff like that. It's just kind of like you'll get a feel for it once you play a few dungeons. I mean, I'll get a feel for it as well because even I'm not still familiar with all the packs and stuff to the extent where I'm comfortable like giving people advice. I'm just kind of telling you my logic like behind it, you know, what I'm thinking. And obviously like some debuffs are priority to dispel ASAP, and you shouldn't wait, you should never wait, clearly, because in terms of like pure output value, what's better? Is it better to do one dispel and then not have to do a lot of healing on the target, or is it better to just do one dispel and then not have to do healing, and which allows you to do damage? So it's just a very logical choice that some debuffs should be dispelled. Some debuffs are also kinda like, I don't want to say harmless, but they're just kind of like annoying, so you don't need to like prioritize them straight away. What's important to learn is like which debuffs you can, not just debuffs, but like when can you, for example, if you're in your like DPS cooldowns, right? If you pop your Ascended boon, and then you gotta look, right? Sometimes people will need healing, and then you gotta think like, should I drop my boon to heal or this or that? That's just kind of like up to you. I feel like obviously you should never let people die just to deal damage. That is really like, that goes against everything that you as a healer represent. But it's also very annoying if your team constantly like fails simple mechanics like standing in swirlies and stuff, and then like you have to heal them instead of like finishing your DPS rotation, because your group like loses like a lot of damage then, right? Because we as priests at the moment, we can do a lot of damage during our CDs. I feel like it's very unnecessary, so that's just kind of like a little bit of like optimization that you need to figure out, obviously with your team and between like for yourself as well, like what you prioritize more and stuff like that. Because you know, if you want to min-max that damage, then I guess you can go for it. But I don't think you should ever allow people to die just to deal like a little bit more damage. I think that's ridiculous. All right, so Obviously, pay attention to these stars. These guys are just pretty straightforward. You just want DPS.
Wandering Pulsar.
These pulsars, they need to be DPS. So I would suggest helping on them. But for example, I wouldn't cast Holy Fire on them because usually they get prioed really hard. Like they get their priority targets. So the Holy Fire doesn't really last long enough on them. So I would cast like Holy Fire on the main ad, and then on them you can use like as Shadow Word, Pain in that, and then like Smite. And stuff. Obviously don't Shadow Word that if you guys are gonna take damage and stuff like that. And here I just completely like lost the trajectory of this thing because I was focusing on damage, and like both me and Mage died. It's pretty embarrassing. But it is what it is, you know, it happens, I guess. As I said, wouldn't recommend it. And here I released. I shouldn't have released, but I don't think we had a res, to be honest. We have a combat res. I wouldn't want to waste a combat res, so yeah, this was actually pretty bad because the Warlock lost his like build up. I don't know what they're doing exactly. I think they're gathering those little demons, imps or whatever. So obviously Warlock was pissed about this. It is what it is. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. What can you do? We were good on time here, so we finished like on time anyway, so it's fine, I guess. But yeah, could have cost us the key, to be honest. Could have cost us the key. I feel like if timing was tighter, I wouldn't release, to be honest. And we lost like also the encrypted buff and stuff, but it's you know, as I said, it is what it is. And yeah, so boss time is this boss. It's pretty actually. It's, as I said, it's in my opinion probably the hardest part of this dungeon. Be careful with these assassins. As you can see here, I'm picking up some aggro. I guess you can just fade to drop aggro, but something to be aware of. I would assume that on maybe like higher keys they can one shot or whatever. Just something to be careful with. And then here, Falling Stars. There's a lot of like opinions on who should do the Falling Stars. I personally think tanks are the best for it, especially if you have like a tank that's not brain dead, like tank that is smart as this one. Like look at how he's like letting the debuff drop and stuff like that. This guy really knows what he's doing. So you know, in that case, I think you should let tank do it. Some healers like to do it themselves because they don't like trust others to do it. But my personal opinion is that on a fortified week, you kind of don't want to be the one doing it simply because you need to heal. Like you want to be free casting there. You don't want to be like bouncing around and stuff and walking. You want to be casting. So I would recommend letting somebody else do it and make sure they do it like properly. You know, communicate to them that it's important because people can die there. People can die.
This power is
so he's gonna transition now. And be careful here, you can actually die, I think, if you stand in his hitbox or something, or if you get hit by the beam, I'm not really sure. And then make sure obviously that the lines go through the stars. And then when stars go out, like I would highly recommend moving away from them a little bit. Here I didn't really do that, and then like track the golden arrow. Here see like we got hit two of us, and I feel like it's actually crazy that these things don't one shot, considering how like dodgeable they are, and considering it's like 20 Tyrannical, they don't even one shot. So I guess it doesn't really like, it's kind of whatever.
Collapsing energy.
You don't really have to dodge them that much, but I guess, I mean, obviously dodging things that deal damage is always better than not dodging them, so I would definitely put a lot of effort into dodging them. And here's like one of those places where it's good to pop Apotheosis, obviously. As I said, stay away from the stars, watch out for them. Make sure people are like topped up for this so they don't die when they get hit. That's something I didn't really do that well because I'm still learning this dungeon. I'm not like super hyper comfortable with it yet. This is only my like third time I've done Gambit. And here's what I mean. I died. I'm actually not really sure what I died here too. Like I'm not sure if I died to these beams or if I died to
Power overwhelming.
his hitbox itself. I think the beams deal damage. I actually didn't know that, so there you go. Like, don't be me. Don't make that mistake like that. Something to avoid for sure.
At my command.
Luckily, we had one more CR. See, like if we used that CR earlier, this key would arguably be over now. Like we wouldn't even time it because there's not enough time left. Well, actually, there's like 5 minutes, right? So maybe we would time it, but it would be like close and we would lose lost and stuff. So
I can feel them.
just like something to keep in mind. And here's why I like somebody else to do it, because like see there I can channel him and cover like a lot of the healing, and you can kind of like do these things. And if you're the one going into the collapsing star, you can't really do that, so it really sucks. It's pretty bad.
The tools of creation. At my
Here, just dodge
command.
this, you know, deal some damage, standard stuff. I actually have a PI here that I'm not using because I'm mostly waiting for the warlock to use the aura, but
Cartel, so
weak aura, but yeah.
oppose me and
overwhelming.
be extinguished.
And here I learned, this time I didn't die to beams. And just make sure the lines go through, easy peasy, and then he's gonna do another one of those like shooty thingies with the arrow. Wait, he doesn't do it. No, there it is. Right, and that's it, guys. Easy 20 on time, even with a lot of fuck ups. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. You know, let me know what you think about the key, about the dungeon. You know, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. We'll do the damage overview soon, so you guys can see some like values of spells and stuff. And hope to see you again. Bye bye.
Studied by Cartel Al. Until our fortunes meet again.